You're listening to the Good Morning Show on WBOK 1230 AM.
Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. Welcome back. 609-265. But, man, a lot of interesting discussions. We want to thank our news team, Janella Newsom and Ro Brown. Man, two great sportscasters and newscasters. I always like to listen to what they have to say. But Mason, on the line right now, we got V.J. Pierre, our great president of St. Charles Parish, with the parish update. How you doing, young man?
Good morning, Oliver and Mason. How y'all doing this morning?
We're doing well. Thank you for joining us.
We miss you in studio, man, but it's great to have you on the line giving us an update about what's happening in the parish. And let's get right into it. I definitely know you want to talk about this bill that just passed in the Senate with Mary Landrieu and David Vitter taking the lead to protect especially the people in your parish.
Oh, yeah, Oliver and Mason, so exciting yesterday. In fact, I was watching it on the vote on the Senate floor on C-SPAN yesterday evening, and when we got those 60 votes, man, it was just it was a combination of a lot of hard work from a lot of individuals. We had, like you said, Senator Landrieu and Senator Vitter in the House, and of course Cedric and Scalise and Cassidy in the House that really pushed for this thing. When we first went down and met with those people, they had no clue what was going on. It was very evident that somebody was asleep at the wheel down there. And when we started telling them what these rates were going to be, they were saying, no, the most they can go up is 200%. And we were saying, no, what we're reading is going to go up 2,000%. And that's exactly what happened. And then what we got the 7 parish presidents involved. We got Michael Heck and Caitlin from GNO Inc., and we really went out and started doing some developing a coalition that ended up having 30 states involved and over 250 different organizations. So there was a lot of people that did a lot of work on this thing, and I'm so proud of people in our region, for sending emails and calling the senators, calling the radio station, having demonstrations, Stop FEMA Now. So it just goes to show you that the process does work when a group of people from across the world come together for a common cause and put pressure on our lawmakers that we can change laws to our satisfaction. So I can sleep a lot better at night knowing that our people are not going to be paying those exorbitant insurance rates. Just to give you an idea, we ran yesterday. We ran some numbers that if Biggest Waters would went into the effect, and now that has been repealed, we ran some numbers. What would the difference in premiums be? If Biggest Waters would have been implemented the way it came out of the Senate, this year, average homeowner who has their house insured for $250,000 and $100,000 in contents, they have to pay a premium of $5,120.
Wow!
Under the new law that just been passed, it's called the National Flood Insurance Program. That same person that would pay that $5,100 a year, is now going to pay $513 a year, and that premium can only go up 18% a year, with a cap of 1%. So in other words, if you got your house insured for the $250,000, over the life of that house, the most you can ever pay for that house is $1,900. Right, okay, right. And that's going to escalate 18%. Mm-hmm. That $513 is going to escalate 18% until it reaches the $1,900. And what it also does is that if you want to increase your deductible, say it's like a $10,000 cap, you automatically get a 36% discount off of that premium. So that's a huge savings. That's affordable, Oliver. A $5,000 to $23,000 is not affordable. And it also, what it did, it reinstated grandfathering. It said that if you was a person that played by the rules, that built your house to the proper flood elevation, when you went to get your building permit, you paid your flood insurance for all those years, and you built your house to elevation, that property is grandfathered, not the person, the property. So that means if I bought your house, Oliver, and you did everything you were supposed to do, when I move into your house, I'm going to pay the same premium that you're going to be paying, not that high premium, because after this bill goes into effect, everybody that's going to build a house has got to build it to the new elevation. But if your house is built already, and that's the way it should be, you're going to pay these lower premiums.
But it also shows the beauty of bipartisanship. And I know when Maxine Waters came on this show, and people at WBOK deserves a big thanks because she actually came on the show to talk about this and to explain how she was wrong, and in many cases relied on bureaucrats, and she did what a leader does. She said, no, we have to reverse this position, and we have to not only protect the people of Louisiana, but protect the people from around this country who its unintended consequences would be drastic, extremely drastic on. So bipartisanship works. I don't know why they can't practice it more in Washington, but you guys did a good job of working with her as well as our delegation to make this happen.
Yeah, I love Maxine Waters. She came into our parish several years ago. We had like a little minority community that was getting pushed out by an oil company, and she came in and she really made a difference to work with these people. And these oil companies actually gave those people what they deserved. But when we talked to Maxine Waters, she was in shock that that her name was associated with a bill as bad as this, and she swore to us that she was going to do everything that she could to get a change, and she did. Boy, she stepped up to the plate big time. She developed a coalition. She went to the people across the island. She was a big component in getting this done. And like you said too, the listeners on your radio show, people in this country makes a difference. And
well, she knew those people mattered, and she knew,
oh yeah,
she knew those people needed their rights defended. It was a good thing she was able to come and help them.
But Matt, you said you made an important statement there, Oliver, that you don't know why these guys can't work together all the time. Because I go to Washington 15 times a year on different issues, and it's like, man, I don't want to go talk to the Republicans. I don't want to go talk to the Democrats. Man, we are American people. Erase that line, cross it. Do what's right for the people.
Well, President St. Pierre, maybe you should be making a run for Congress and straighten some of those guys out up there.
Time for me to go fishing, man.
Well, but I want to ask you, what happens now that the law heads to the president's desk? Of course, he's going to sign it. But when will people start seeing relief, and when will folks start to get some of these refunds?
Well, the thing about it is, on the refund, if you like in our parish, we didn't adopt our map, so we was okay for the next 3 years. Our parish wouldn't have seen these higher rates because our FEMA maps hadn't been approved yet. We're in the appeal process right now. We have 2 years to appeal it, and then FEMA has 1 year to appeal our findings. Okay, but all the people who was charged those higher rates, they will get reimbursed for it. Now, they're probably not going to get a check, but they're going to get a credit for it. So instead of actually paying out a yearly premium, they're going to give them a credit for that deal. And another good thing this new revised bill did, Oliver and Mason, is that if you can't afford to pay that whole premium at one time, you can work out a payment plan. And that's big for some people. You're saying $500 to $800 a year. Yeah, it don't sound like a lot of money to a lot of people, but $500 to $800 to a lot of elderly people and people on fixed income, that's a lot of money. So a payment plan I thought was a good thing. Now there was another stipulation in this bill that for every in addition to let's just say that rate I quoted you at $513,000, every year you're going to be assessed $25. And that $25 will go to a special fund. It's not going to go into the general fund where the Congress can rape that fund and pay any other bill that they want to pay. That's going to go into a separate fund where that money can only be used for disaster programs.
Mr. President, I got to stop you. You said something that was critical. You said Congress can't rape that fund, and we know that's what happens in many cases. It's extreme violence once they get their hands on some money up there.
Oh yeah, and my thing is they keep telling us that the fund's $17 billion in a red. My thing is that if the Corps of Engineers would have designed that flood wall where that wall didn't fail, and the city of New Orleans and the surrounding areas wouldn't have flooded, we wouldn't be talking about this right now. We'd be talking about something else.
Well, I think you're making a critical point, Mason, and that's when people talk about the Corps and how they're protected in many cases from some of these class action lawsuits. And that Mayor Landrieu highlighted this years ago. Well, the recommendation was different from what you actually built. What was recommended was put on the shelf, and what you gave us was a system that was inferior to the one that they say that we needed. So you're absolutely right, President St. Pierre.
Yeah, they're saying, the federal government is tired bailing out the American people, but now the Congress is asking the American people to bail the federal government out. So.
Bingo.
where's fair play coming to this, you know?
Very good analogy. How many billions of dollars, and Mason and I have talked about this before, had they built the system that was recommended in terms of protection, had they followed some of the models that folks said was successful, and no matter which side of the river a hurricane passed on, then we would have saved billions of dollars, and FEMA would not be in the position that it's in right now.
Yeah, and you know, one of the things I've been fighting for since I got in office is that, you know, every time we go to do a project and it concerns wetlands, we got to pay a mitigation cost. When I first got in office, is that for every acre of land that the parish took to build a levee, a canal, a drainage ditch, whatever, we had to mitigate 1.5 acres to 1 acre. Now, 2 years ago, when they went with the modified Charleston alignment, so now for every acre I take, I got to mitigate 3.5 acres, and that's at 40,000. The areas that we're looking at $40,000 an acre just to build our little levee system that we got going back here. We didn't spend $3.5 million just on mitigation, and what that does, it goes to a mitigation bank where a big landowner owns this swamp land or marshland, and we got to pay it to him. And once the bank is full, he'll donate it to the Audubon Society or the Sierra Club, comes off the tax roll, and the parish don't get any money for it. Why not take that money instead of giving it to a big, rich landowner for mitigation, put it into a coastal restoration program along the coast, our coastline, and build levees so we don't have to build our levees so high, like we'll be a secondary levee. We can build them quicker and cheaper. So we just throwing money to a big landowner, to me, for nothing. I believe in saving the wetlands and all those kind of stuff. Let's save our people first, then worry about the wetlands.
Well, what is the success of actually getting that done?
Well, I don't think there's too many special interest groups that they worry about nutrients and some type of lilies and some type of microorganisms that feed the catfish breed off of. I don't know. It's mind-boggling when you get into all this stuff.
Okay, understood. Well, thank you for your leadership on this, and once again, congratulations on an effort well fought. And so now we're seeing the success of that in the passage of this bill, which will be signed pretty soon.
Yeah, the president assured us he wouldn't. The president assured us he would not veto it. And when the president came to the port several months ago, I had maybe a half a second conversation with him, a half a minute conversation, and I told him, I said, Mr. President, this is probably the most important issue in my district in the last 6 years, and I would appreciate your help in repealing the Biggest Waters Act. And he said, well, we're working on it. So I'm sure that the president's a compassionate man. I think he's worried about the quality of life for the American people, and I think he's going to sign it.
But President St. Pierre, you're very respected. Your name is mentioned in terms of when they talk about people running for statewide office. We have African Americans and the like, Republicans and Democrats, who call and mention your name as someone who cares and puts people first when they're considering people to run for office in the future. I know you've always said your focus is where you are. And that's all that you're thinking about right now. But let's talk a little bit about the future, and let's also talk a little bit about President John Young. When he's always talking about looking forward, how Jefferson Parish is changing, how the region is changing, and how leadership doesn't need to fight that change, but work with it so that we can be the best region in the state. How do you take a look at that?
Well, Oliver, I'm sure you've been in government, and John hit it right on. In fact, yesterday we had that stakeholders briefing with GNO Inc., and that's one thing that Michael Heck and Pat Burster, John Young, the mayor, myself, Timmy Roussel, Natalie Rowbottom, Michelle Claudet, all these parish presidents, we realize now in the days of that, us going St. Charles Parish going to Washington looking for something by itself, it ain't gonna happen. Right. It's got to affect the whole region because Oliver, I'm 25 miles from the city of New Orleans. I have a lot of people working in New Orleans. I got a lot of people in New Orleans working in my parish. So whatever affects one parish affects everybody because we hire the same people, we use the same vendors, and it's just that we pay the taxes in a different place. That's it.
One of your great residents out there talks about the future of that parish. Billy Raymond, former council member, I know he was also a candidate for parish president, but he talks about the future of the region in terms of economics and building working class people and everyone working together. And I think you stand by that, and you've tried to do that.
Yeah, in fact, my economic development officer now, we meet once a week and to try to, attract industry into our parish. Now, we kind of shifting our focus because in St. Charles Parish, our land use is, we don't have that much more acreage, large acres. Right. We got 26 industrial sites right now, so we're trying to be more selective in the type of industry that we're bringing in.
We've talked about and we've heard about in economic reports the future of the chemical plants and major plants up and down the river. We know that they're predicting billions of dollars of investments up and down the river, the state. What is planned in terms of new construction, restoration, and opportunity with the plants because they're a vital part of the Parish region?
Yeah, well, I think the finding of the marine shale up north is kind of shifting a lot of attention to Louisiana, where we can supply this industry with lower and cheaper natural gas. And you're right, Oliver. There's $90 billion worth of projects predicted from New Orleans to Baton Rouge in the next 5 years. And we met with we had a meeting with the assistant director of universities in Louisiana, and we invited all of our major industries at the Votech School in Reserve. And one of the things that she was saying that with the amount of they're talking about close to 70,000 jobs.
Yes. And
want to know where we're going to get all these people. And the companies were telling them, look, we can get engineers and we can get the technical people, but what y'all got to do, and they're talking to the parish presidents, and what I think the parish presidents and the school board members and the school superintendents need to convince those parents that, hey, every kid can't be an engineer, a doctor, or a lawyer. Your kid can make $100,000 a year. He's a skilled craftsman. He's a welder, fitter, a boilermaker, insulator, a sandblaster, painter. They might have to work a little harder, but they can make that $100,000 job. You don't have to have. I'm not knocking education. Get all the education you can, but get a good trade, and you can make a good living. You can raise a family.
Mr. President, a lot of our regional leaders, whether it's Alderman Southall out there in Napoleonville, Alonda Williams, the chairman of the Houma Terrebonne Parish Council, out there, and yourselves, and Michael Heck, Mr. Miller, it's our local senator here, Karen Carter, West Bishop, have talked about looking at the region, creating, and Michael Heck specifically came on the show last year, talking about how we have to look at this, not just as a metropolitan region, but this whole region from Plaquemine all the way out to that 9-parish area where you all are working together, especially like on this flood insurance piece, and look at that as a hub for new growth in industry, because just like people travel up and down the East Coast, just like people travel up and down many West Coast cities, we can create the same type of working economy here.
That's exactly right. And Oliver, when we bring all these new companies, they come in and come look at our parish, come look at our land, and we sit down, we take them to dinner, and we talk to them, and we say, what's the most important thing you're looking for to determine whether you're going to bring your people here? They say, and they always every one of them tells us the same thing. We want to make sure that we got a workforce that is skilled, and they're going to show up to work every day. That's what we're looking for. They're looking for quality of life for the employees who live in the area. They want to make sure they have a good school system, nice recreational facilities, good government services, low crime. That's the things they're looking for. And in St. Charles Parish and the region, that's the kind of quality of life issues that we have. Now, I think that's why people are attracted to this area.
So, President St. Pierre, we spent a lot of time talking about flood insurance, and of course, it's a major news of the day. But what other things are happening in your area that you want your constituents to know about?
Well, we got our biggest problem right now is the infrastructure problem. Our sewer system is probably the biggest challenge right now. Is the antiquated sewer system. We're trying to repair it a little bit at a time. Our water systems, we just refurbished both of our water plants. We put underlying river crossing, so if one plant goes down, we can supplement the other plant. As a matter of fact, right now with the problems that St. John are having, we are selling water to St. John right now until they get their systems up and going. So we got a lot of good things going in the parish right now. We just finished a major building renovations where we built a brand new community center, an animal shelter, a brand new emergency operations center, which I'm very proud of. We've been operating, we call it the dungeon during hurricane seasons, or whenever there's a chemical leak or something that we have to evacuate people. We relocated all of our public works directors. They were in shacks and little trailers, and now we got a nice facility for them. We finally got a place where we can store all our equipment on each side of the river, and we got a lot of good things going right now.
Now, as it relates to making those infrastructure improvements for the sewage system, might you have to implement any taxes or fees in order to make that feasible, or any bond initiatives, or what are you thinking in terms of securing the dollars for that, or is there some federal dollars that might be available?
Well, we made some some low interest loans at 0.095% last year to kind of help us a little bit on that. But that's our problem. We don't have that particular department other than like Public Works or Recreation. They even supplemented by like a half-cent sales tax or 1/8 sales tax or millage. But the sewer department was always thought that they could operate efficiently in budget on the user fees, but with the price of treatment today, it's not feasible. So what we're doing is we started an MS4 program where we're being mandated by the state that we got to go in and start testing everybody that flushes their toilet goes into our system is going to have to pay a fee. I'm talking about commercial right now. The residents do it, but commercially they'll have to pay a certain fee where we go in and test them, make sure they're not putting any kind of chemicals that they shouldn't be putting in there. But we're gonna in the next year or two, we're gonna have to come up with some other kind of solution.
Yeah.
We're not that far off. We're about $300,000 off, but and we supplement that out of the general fund. So we got to find a way to bring that up.
Mr. President,
we did a study several years ago, but man, the rates would be so high and.
Right.
With the amount of money people being charged for other things today, I just hate to go to people for another rate increase.
Mr. President, before you go, you're on a very important issue a lot of people don't understand. The cost of chemical treatment of these sewer systems, whether it's protecting water, drainage, and wastewater. Mayor Landrieu, John Young, Natalie Rowbottom, and many others, you guys have talked about regional cooperation. Is there any consideration in the future for when you're going out to bid for many of these expensive items that have a major cost on your particular parishes, of maybe bidding together in terms of reducing the cost of greater volume? Is there that kind of talk amongst the cities and amongst the parishes in terms of working together?
The only discussions we have, we of course we have a little organization called the River Region Caucus. That's St. Charles, St. John, and St. James. Mm-hmm. We were thinking about doing something like that on the garbage issues.
That's what I mean.
Instead of paying these huge dumping fees to these landfills, and also on the insurance issues, we're trying to go like 3 parishes and go self-insured with 3 parishes. There's some discussions, but there's a lot of legal jargon you got to work out, and but we are discussing that.
Well, John Young and I talked about that when we were when I was on the council. Is that when we had our joint meetings? Is that how do we take a look at some of these major contracts and maybe bid them together to reduce costs in the region? I think at some point that it could be the way of the future, because when people look at infrastructure, they don't know some of the things you got to purchase in terms of chemicals and equipment as well as product are extremely expensive out there in the market.
Yeah, right now we do that right now, Oliver. We if we go out for bid for something, we'll call Jefferson, St. John, St. James. If they got a specific item on a contract and it's lower than we can get, we buy off of their contract, and legally we can do that.
Beautiful. And Mason, before the parish president goes, it's been a great interview, man. And,
it has. And just once again, we just want to circle back and say thank you so much for all of your work on this flood insurance issue. It means a lot to a lot of people, a lot of our listeners, and of course a lot of folks in your parish. So thank you once again, and enjoy your weekend.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, guys. See you later.
We appreciate you. God bless. When we come back, Mason and I are going to mix it up for half an hour. We got some issues we're going to talk about, 2609-265.